Whether you gave birth a few years ago or just recently, birth impacts the whole of your parenting, your experience, your beliefs, the way you parent your children. And birth trauma is actually on the increase because the way that we medicalise birth and the way that we give birth in hospital and the amount of fear that is surrounding birth these days can often create a lot of disturbance in how you perceive your birth to be. When you give birth and you feel aligned with the way that your care providers looked after you and the experience of birth, you will feel much more positive and optimistic about the experience and then how you enter parenting. If you had certain ideas about how you expected or wanted or hoped for your birth to be, and it turned out something completely different, then there's more likely to be discordance in your energy and they're more upset when you think about it, and it can lead to birth trauma. Now, when you give birth, you're not only giving birth to a baby, you're giving birth to yourself as a mother or as a mother again. And it's a rite of passage. And I think in our culture, we really do not connect with that aspect of birth, and that we don't get back to normal within 6 weeks. It takes time to integrate the experience on all levels, on a physical level, on an emotional level, on a mental level. You start having new thoughts, the way that you experience life. So it might take you all day to get out of the house, as opposed to just opening the front door and leaving. On a social level, people perceive you differently. And of course, as time goes on, you integrate the experience and come into a new way of being. But you never go back to the old you. You move forward. It's never back to normal. It's forward to a new normal. And that's what I think a lot of mums struggle with, because they want to get back to the way they were. And that will never happen. Once you're a mother, you're not a maiden anymore. And you bring into your life a richer way of being. So it's not like you'll go back to who you were, but you'll integrate to a new you. But there can be a sense of loss, and if there's resistance to this transition, this rite of passage, that's when depression can kick in, and that's when mums find it harder to be mums. And the reason I'm making this video today is because it is Maternal Mental Health Week this week, and I want to give you a tool that can really help you with how you're feeling about being a mum. So whether you gave birth years ago or just a few months ago, it doesn't matter. That stays with you for the rest of your life. And if you don't feel positive about that experience, it can affect the way you parent. For example, if you didn't have the birth that you wanted, you might feel, I failed my child, I'm not a good mother. There might be guilt around that, so there might be overcompensation the way you treat your child, and you try and make it up to your baby or your child. So there are lots of emotions that can come up. Now, I'm going to do some tapping and you can join in with me, but this is not for if you have birth trauma. If you have birth trauma, I suggest you seek one-to-one professional advice with me or another experienced EFT practitioner. So we're going to do some EFT tapping. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. It's like acupuncture for emotions without the use of needles, and it works really well with people who've had difficult births and it's affecting their life. I'm just going to give you a taster today, so we're not going to do a whole process, but it will just be a little taster of what's possible. So as I said, if you've got birth trauma, you can watch this, but please don't tap along with me. Do get a one-to-one session. But if you haven't got birth trauma, but you didn't have the birth you wanted and you have negative emotions about it, then please do join in with me. And if you do, take responsibility for your own well-being. So when you think about the birth of your child, and think about one of your children, if you were to rate it on a scale from -10 through 0 to +10, where -10 is feeling worst possible, 0 is feeling neutral, and +10 is feeling absolutely fantastic and on top of the world, then rate the level that you feel about your birth right now. So let's tap. So even though when I think about giving birth, I have these feelings, and just name those feelings. So it could be guilt, maybe it's anxiety, frustration, disappointment, feeling like a failure, feeling not good enough as a mum, not good enough as a person, not good enough as a woman. It could be any of those, or something completely different. I acknowledge how I feel, and I honour these feelings. Even though I've been carrying this feeling about my birth for quite a while now, and maybe it's impacted the way I've been parenting, I acknowledge that too, and I'm open to the possibility of having compassion for myself and everything I went through, and tapping through the points, remembering my birth, remembering my baby's birth, acknowledging how I'm feeling about it, and noticing where I feel that feeling in my body right now. And if you didn't know, just guess. Acknowledging the sensation in that part of my body. And again, if you don't know, just make it up or guess. Acknowledging the thoughts that I have about what happened or didn't happen during my birth. And acknowledging how that makes me behave and feel towards my child and how I parent. Just notice what feelings and thoughts come up for you and allow them to be here fully. I'm acknowledging how I feel. I'm acknowledging the thoughts that are coming up about this birth. I'm acknowledging the beliefs that I created as a result of this birth. And it could be beliefs such as I'm not good enough, I'm alone in this, nobody supports me, whatever's there, and just acknowledging all of that. And I'm open to the possibility of having compassion for myself, for my child, and for the experience that we went through together. And just being fully present to that now. And I'm noticing my feet on the ground and my body in the chair. That was then, and this is now. And even though I had this experience, I'm open to the possibility of knowing and trusting that I'm exactly the right mother with exactly the right birth experience for my child, even if it wasn't the way I wanted it to be. And I'm open to the possibility of releasing some of these upsetting feelings, some of these thoughts about myself, so that I can begin to create a new relationship with my birth. And as I do that, I can create an even closer relationship with my child, even if it seemed like a miracle. So as you tune in now to your birth, just think about the qualities that you feel that you giving birth would have needed and didn't have. And I'm just going to throw out some ideas here, but you can make up your own. I needed more trust. So I'm sending that me who gave birth an abundance of trust energy. And I'm sending her more self-belief, more self-compassion, more relaxation. And I'm open to the possibility of sending that me who gave birth the energy of surrender, the energy of opening, the energy of allowing the birth to unfold just the way it did, without fighting it, without resisting it. And I'm sending that me an abundance of love and support energy. And if you have anything else that you feel that is needed, write it in the comments, or just add them in yourself. I'm open to the possibility of changing my relationship with my birth and infuse the energy of joy, of ease, of relaxation, of flow into my birth and into my baby who was being born at that time, so that I can let go of the parts of the birth that I've been holding on to and create a new, better relationship and a better story around my birth. And put your hands on your heart chakra and say transform, and take a deep breath. Transform. So tuning in now to looking back at your birth, rating it on a scale from -10 through 0 to +10, and let me know, or type in the chat, what the number was before and what the number is now. If it hasn't changed or it's got worse, that's okay. You can keep tapping. If it stayed the same, you might need a bit more support. And again, type in the chat and I can give you some suggestions of what you could do. If your relationship with your birth has improved, that's fantastic. Repeat this video as many times as you need to, so that you can go up that scale and have a better and better relationship with your birth. So if you benefited from this video, please do click the share button so that other mums can really benefit from this too. And if you want to know more about how EFT can help stressed mums, I've written a book called Frazzled to Fabulous in 5 minutes a day. If you're watching this live, then it might not be published yet, but it's due to be published very soon, and the link is in the comments, and you can download a free chapter if it's not published yet, but it will be published in a couple of weeks, and then you'll be able to buy the book itself. So that's my book, Frazzled to Fabulous in 5 minutes a day. You can check out my website, tamaradon.com. And in the meantime, have an amazing day and look out for my next maternal mental health video tomorrow.